What is Boris Johnson's biggest headache right now? Is it the economy? Is it Brexit? Or it seems there's so much talk also about things in Downing Street not going to plan, with aides leaving and aides joining.
Yeah, I think this morning his biggest headache is very close to home. For some time now, we've been hearing that the Prime Minister wants to appoint a chief of staff, and it emerged in the British media that his choice was Lee Cain, a very long-standing advisor who'd been with him at the Foreign Office and had been with him through his rise in Downing Street and his election majority in December. That was not to the liking of others in his party, and Lee Cain has now resigned, and that's created a big storm. Now, the government has said, look, there's nothing to see here. This is just a bit of reshuffling of the chairs within Downing Street. It's a communications job. This is not really what the public want to hear. It's not what they care about. But actually, it goes to the heart of what many people have questioned about this government, and that is, who's driving it, what is the vision behind it, and where is the real sort of management expertise. So I think we are going to see this story have some cut through with the public, even if there are so many, ostensibly bigger issues, the economy, the vaccine, the relationship with the new White House, that are also, vying for attention right now.
Therese, what does this exit in Downing Street actually mean for probably the most controversial but also closest ally and advisor to Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings?
Yeah, well, that's an open question. Cummings has hung on through a lot of ups and downs, including huge criticism when he broke lockdown rules before, and he's very close to Lee Cain. And I think the question that this raises is whether this very core group of hardcore Brexiters that formed the Vote Leave campaign that really propelled Johnson to office and into his position of power, whether their influence over the government is waning now. And a lot depends, I think, on how this plays out in the backbenches of the Tory party. So Johnson is often accused of not doing enough to help MPs keep them informed of his policy, help them understand what he wants, bring them along and get their support. And I think we're going to have to look at how MPs respond to this and whether we see a backlash really against Cummings rising up out of this Cain resignation as well.
Therese, I'm fascinated by this as an outsider, and of course you bring over the equivalencies to the White House and what the First Lady would do. I was reading the Telegraph, and they do it in a more, political way than your elegance and all that. And they've got Team Vote Leave, and they've got Team Carrie for Carrie Simmons. I believe that's how you pronounce it. What is Carrie Simmons doing, intruding on this process, as they say at the bottom of the Telegraph article, because she got upset about photos being posted on Instagram? The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom's dealing with this?
Well, I think there's, so much going on behind the scenes here, Tom. We also have the appointment of a new communications head for Johnson, and Allegra Stratton, who used to work for Rishi Sunak. And was also apparently not happy with the Cain appointment. So, you've got obviously various factions within Downing Street. And the important point, I think, for those of us who care about Brexit and the economy and the vaccine, is who has the most influence over Boris Johnson? Who is controlling access to Johnson? What is their vision? And right now, that's not clear. And that's why this internal spat over a head of communications is actually a much bigger story than you might first meet the eye.
I agree, but what is the response of the Prime Minister, or is it unknowable right now?
Well, I think we will have to wait and see what the Prime Minister himself says. And, maybe it says something that he hasn't spoken up more on this so far. So, he's going to try to keep the focus on his policies. But, one indication of how worried they are was when you had, a government minister on BBC this morning saying we should be focused on, the growth figures, which are pretty dismal right now. And I think when the government is telling us to look at dismal economic figures, they are very uncertain about what's going on within Downing Street now. So, this is still playing out. We don't have a new chief of staff announced yet. And the person that takes over that position is going to tell us a lot about the direction of this government, Tom.
As the world turns with Therese Raphael.